Really, businesses big and small can continue to be viable, reach their audiences. And an account executive, a sales executive for Nexstar, our parent company, Mitch West, is among those people on the sales team who are across the country counseling local businesses on their branding and their marketing. And he's in the second season of his own podcast, The Marketing Detective. Take a look.
I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Mike as we were wrapping up. What advice can you give local businesses that are trying to tell their story from your perspective?
Well, I think you should share your passion for your business because it's contagious. And also, don't underestimate the importance of your local patrons. You might think that a broader audience is necessary, but there's something to be said, again, especially during these times, for local businesses and staying that way and honing in on them. And I think, as Mike said, when you think about data,
So Mitch West is joining us now live from On Air Media, one of our media partners here at Morning After, to talk more about this. So Mitch, that was Nellie Shudo. She's not only an actress, but she's also a podcaster who covers the Park Cities and helps give local businesses a boost. I'm curious to know, generally over 2 seasons, what have you taken away from your own podcast about what's important for local businesses?
Well, the genesis of this really began because of COVID-19 and not being able to have these in-person seminars and workshops. I decided to start a podcast so that I could carry on the conversation. And what I really learned is, first of all, everyone has a story. And being able to talk to these local businesses, what they're struggling with, what their challenges are, and then helping them navigate that has been really the most rewarding thing we've done.
Well, we're watching video of me as a guest on your podcast. I mean, you've called on friends, but you also have people on your podcast who you aren't friends with, who just are interested in telling their stories. I think about David Brown from Business Wars, who gave some insight into how that popular podcast came to be. But I was on as a guest to talk about personal brands, because individuals are brands too, and especially in this economy, we have people out there who are sole entrepreneurs, or their brand is simply advice that they're giving out. How would you speak to that audience?
That building that brand is making you the expert in your field, so that when people are looking for solutions and you happen to be the expert in that solution, it really sets you apart. It allows you to really tell your story beyond a 30-second spot, to really talk about the challenges that you're facing and you've overcome, to help others along that journey as well.
Well, and we're going to look at a couple of other segments and talk about what you've learned from each of these guests. You had on your podcast a longtime producer for Inside Edition who you had worked with in other markets. What did you take away from what Megan had to say to you?
We talked about work-life balance, and we talk about that all the time, but very, very few times do we actually find that in life. And she is working Inside Edition. She's doing NFL on CBS. She's written books, but still has time to be a mother and to be a wife and to really support her family. And I thought that was a great takeaway.
Yeah, Jay Rodriguez as well, who's well known, having been among the original cast members of Queer Eye for the Straight Guy going back to 2002. You had him on. What I thought was interesting about that was he talked about the ups and downs of maintaining your relevancy, which applies to businesses big and small as you're going through ups and downs in the economy.
Yes. Jay is a scrappy guy. He has done almost everything. He was affected directly by the lack of live performances during COVID-19 and really helped build awareness and raise funds for colleagues that were also out of work. So just a tremendous example of humanity coming together and helping each other through this. And yes, the crazy story of working in Hollywood was very, very insightful.
Yeah, that's like a whole ecosystem unto itself. With a minute left here, I'm curious to know, with your experience in markets all over the country, places like Savannah to places as large as Los Angeles, Chicago, is there a theme that has emerged in this last year as it relates to your clients and what they're saying to you about how you've been helpful in helping them maintain their business?
One of the greatest compliments that I get when I work with these companies is, you've helped us survive through this pandemic, or you have helped us find our voice and redefine our vision. And that's the greatest joy of doing this job and creating this podcast to hear more of these stories. And so I'm excited. We've got another episode dropping tomorrow. We're talking about the 7 trends to look for in 2021. And my guest is going to be Jessica Gomez, the digital director for WPIX in New York, one of my new stations.
Well, I know that you're working with our media partner, On Air Media, to produce your podcast. What has the learning curve been like for you? Because I know your messaging, but this is a format that you weren't used to, and I know others are stepping into that arena as well and trying to reach their clients and their customers with podcasts.
Well, they give you all the tools you need here. They provide the space. They provide a great producer. They coach you through that process. They have actual coaching to help you prepare your message, to define and redefine that message before you go on air. And then also they've got editing capabilities. So if you mess up, we can always go fix it in post-production.
You don't scream, let's do it live. We'll do it live.
Yes.
All right, Mitch, thank you. Known for his bad dad joke segment from last Father's Day. I still hear about that, Mitch, by the way. You can check out Mitch's podcast, The Marketing Detective, anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts, also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And as Mitch said, if you're looking to get into the podcasting world yourself to reach your clients and your customers, On Air Media is a great source.